Okay, so quick disclaimer before I make this tier list. First of all, I have no idea about these four characters. Sadly, I've tested every character, whether it's on my account or other people's accounts, at around AR 45 to 50. Sadly, I have not had a chance to test out Kaching, which is sad. However, I would probably put Kaching somewhere around S and A plus. For Ganyu, Xiao, and Ayaka, I don't know. I'll theory craft a bit at the end. Okay, and then last thing I need to disclaim. I'm going to use the male traveler as the Geo main character, and then I'm going to use the female main character as the Anemo traveler. Okay, so let's begin. So in this tier list that we will in this tier list that will start off 2021, we first have Venti. Okay. Okay. Need I explain myself? Venti, as a lot of you probably already know, is the best character in the game. If you've done Abyss, you will agree 100% that Venti is the best character in the game. Not only does he have the greatest crowd control ult in the game, his ult is basically infinite. Your uptime is almost 100% due to his insanely low cost on his ult, due to his cost being 60 and his passives just regenerating like so much energy for him. That's just impossible for him to not have energy for his ult. Now, what Venti effectively does with his broken crowd control, he makes Abyss defense easy as heck. If you don't believe me, just go watch any Abyss run and tell me how many runs don't have Venti. Because Venti makes it so much easier. And especially in current Abyss 11-2, he makes it so much easier. 3-star without Venti is possible, but 3-star with Venti is child's play compared to what you have to do if you don't have Venti. Just because he's just that OP. He's the best character in the game by far. There's really no argument for it. Okay, second, Klee. We're really starting off strong here, huh? Klee, S tier, easily. She's the best DPS in the game right now. She does so much damage in such a small window very consistently. She has so much tech that you can abuse. Like, for example, jump canceling. And another bonus of jump canceling is, in essence, since you're doing 1-2 jump or something like that, she's very mobile. She's a very mobile character. So while you're doing tons of damage, you're also dodging a lot of attacks. Her mines also do a crap ton of damage. Klee is just absolutely insane. Super, super good. Just because her damage just eclipses everyone else's damage in the game. The only reason that Venti is higher than her is because Venti has the best crowd control in the game, which is far more important when it comes to stuff like Abyss. Because Klee could have like 5 million times more damage than Venti, but with Venti you're going to group up every enemy, so you effectively attack all of them at once. While with any other unit, you're going to attack them one at a time, with the exception of Sucrose. Sucrose also kind of is like a mini Venti, but her duration's not as long, and she doesn't bring enemies from way across the map like Venti does. And she also doesn't have infinite ult like Venti. So first off, okay, so next, Chongyun. Chongyun is really solid. I would put him in the A tier. Because if you're running a Pyro carry, Chongyun is an amazing support. His Cryo Infusion allows you to melt very, very consistently. And as a main DPS, he also can work. Chongyun is a pretty well-rounded cryo character as of right now. Okay, so GOMC. I would put GOMC in the A tier as well. Because while GOMC's stats are really, really low, his modifiers are really high. His E has a really high multiplier. His ult also has a very high multiplier. And he's also the only free C6 character. And if you take a look at his C6, part of his constellations, his C1, gives you bonus crit rate, bonus 10% crit rate, as long as you're inside his ult radius, which is huge. I love that. And also his other constellations also help. So yeah, the GOMC is actually very good. Don't underestimate him. Now Diona. So Diona can heal. Diona can put up a shield. She's kind of like a jack of all trades that I think isn't very effective. Because while her heal is nice, she just really seems to be a healer because her shield is a little weak. And she's kind of whack. It's really weird that she scales with cryo damage bonus as her ascension stat as well. Diona is just pretty weird. Her shield is the second best shield in the game though. Well, I mean, if we're counting Noelle, then her shield might actually be the third best. Well, Diona she's kind of in a weird spot. Because when I tried playing Diona, she felt a little clunky, and her shield, it does not survive. Let me just say that. Because her scaling drops off pretty fast when it comes to the shield. I would probably put her in A tier. Still, but like bottom A tier. Now Zhongli. There was a lot of drama around Zhongli. And I actually mained Zhongli for a while. So, my opinion on Zhongli is that he's probably in the A tier. He's probably somewhere near the top or middle of A tier. Because while his shield is the best in the game. Now, his shield can also survive a lot, contrary to what a lot of people say. A lot of the people that are saying that his shield can't survive much, they are usually using that shield against one-shot attacks from the Fatui. Specifically, the old 12-3, which obviously a shield is not going to survive that, because those are supposed to be like one-shot deadly attacks. But for everything else, his shield works wonderfully. His resonance, his E alone doesn't really work. But if you pair him with Geo Traveler, for example, he becomes an absolute beast because he's able to have at least 3 to even up to 7 in some cases. Because you use Geo Traveler E twice, which has a super low cooldown, and then you use Traveler's ult, which creates 4 structures. All of them can resonate with Zhongli's E. You can have up to 7 things resonating at once, and my Zhongli resonance does about somewhere around a little over 1k. And he's not really properly built. He's like level 80 with subpar artifacts. So yeah, 7,000 per tick passively is really nice. However, Zhongli, he's not enough to go into A+ yet. I have seen the buffs though, and if the buffs currently stay as they are, I would probably put Zhongli somewhere in the A plus tier. Somewhere probably in the middle of A plus. Because while he would be amazing, he wouldn't be as broken as someone like Klee or Venti. Not even close. Okay, next unit. I kind of delved into Zhongli for a while. So, Albedo. Albedo is a really, really solid character. This is, honestly, it's what they should have done with Zhongli. So, Albedo, first off, he is an absolutely amazing sub DPS if you want him to use him as a support, because his E does a lot. And you want to go full defense build E, then it works because his E is honestly so strong as a support. And if you want to go Albedo main DPS, you can, because Albedo, his E and his ult is actually very strong. It has one of the highest modifiers in the game, assuming all 7 blooms hit, which usually, in my experience, usually 3, 4, or 5 hit. If it's a big enemy like a Fatui though, usually 4 to 6 will hit. Sometimes 7 if you're lucky, which is already enough, because as long as 5 hit at talent level 6, you're already doing over 1000% damage with his ult. He's crazy. No, not only is he an absolutely amazing support, he's super flexible, in which you can build him in really any way. So, especially for you free-to-play players that don't have that many characters, he's absolutely amazing because he can work with almost any way. So it'll be very hard to replace Albedo in your teams. Actually, now that I think about it, yeah, my S tier will involve characters that are hard to replace. Okay, so Amber. I'm sorry, Amber. I'm sorry. Oh. Now, Amber, the thing is, she's a very constellation hungry character. Because if you look at her C2 and C4, if you manage to miraculously get Amber to C4, excuse me, she is absolutely amazing. She would probably be at the top of B tier, or even maybe into the A tier. No, she'd probably be the top of B tier. Because Amber C4 allows her to utilize her explosion puppets twice. Which, with the explosion puppet damage, she can actually catch up to a lot of the other units in the game. So, Mona up here. Probably higher than Albedo. Actually, Because, oh yeah, another thing I forgot to mention about Albedo. Albedo has the best refund passive in the game. He has the refund passive of 10%. He has a 10% chance to double the product of a weapon ascension material. And now that is huge as well, because whenever you're crafting a purple weapon material, will usually cost you around 20 resin to actually get from a domain. So if you can get that to proc just once, then you've saved 20 resin, which is pretty big, especially for free-to-play players. Anyway, so back to Mona. Mona, she's very, very strong. She is the one unit that completely brings nuking to a whole nother level. Because her ult is so good, the damage bonus from her ult is so good, that basically, if you want to do high damage, Mona is a must. Because her damage bonus, even the damage bonus that she gives to other characters, is just way too much to pass on. And Mona as a character is pretty good. Playing with her is very, very fun. And getting to nuke with big numbers sometimes can save you a lot of trouble, especially in Abyss, where if you can just nuke the enemy, you don't have to deal with their crap. So, okay, next. Beidou. Beidou is actually very underestimated, which I'm very surprised about, because Beidou is actually super strong. Her E can basically do the damage of an ult if you play her properly. I started with Beidou and Jean on my account, and Beidou and Jean were absolutely destroying everything. Beidou was amazing. She was so much fun to play. And with Beidou, the more precise you are, the more she rewards you. Because there's her counter, which you need to be attacked 2 times to get 2 stacks. However, she has a perfect counter where if you counter at the perfect time, you get those 2 stacks immediately. And also you get slightly higher range. I did try to test it, and it does seem like she does get higher range. And also there's another Beidou tech that I haven't seen anyone speaking about, but it's very precise. So when there's a perfect counter for Beidou, which if you can pull it off consistently, Beidou is just an absolute monster. Because what that counter does is, it not only do you get 2 stacks immediately, she also negates all damage. She literally negates all damage. You can test it on Child's Whale. It completely negates his damage. It was absolutely nuts. Now, I'm not that skilled. However, my friend who mains Beidou, he has done that and shown me that the Child Whale did 0 damage with that perfect counter. So, and Beidou's ult is also a really nice source of constant electric, which you can use to apply overloaded or superconduct. Overloaded to break those very annoying big Helichurl shields, and superconduct to constantly debuff. She's overall very good, and I would probably put her at the top of A. Now Jean. Jean is also another character that she's very overlooked. She's very underrated by so many people, but not the Chinese, because the Chinese knew since day one, and so did I. Jean is absolutely amazing. In my opinion, Jean is the best healer in the game. She's one of 2 best healers in the game, because she basically does everything. She is a free-to-play's best friend. So her damage is pretty solid. She can go physical. She can go anemo. She can go physical because her scaling is enough on her normal attacks. She can go anemo damage bonus because her E has a really high modifier actually, and a really low cooldown of just 6 seconds. And another thing that makes her E so good is that if you hold the E, you can propel the enemies into the air and they take fall damage. Now, fall damage is so broken because it's a percentage of the HP of the enemy. It doesn't matter what your stats are. So, just to give you an example, the current Abyss, floor 12, if you have Jean, floor 12 becomes an absolute joke. Because you're able to do upwards of 60k when per 1 fall damage instance on the Fatui Pyro agents. Which is absolutely crazy. Because you do it like 3 to 4 times and they're dead. With her alone, you can actually do floor 12, like for example, floor 12 chamber 2, which I believe had the 2 pyro agents. It was 1 chamber with the 2 pyro for 2 agents. You could do that you could kill those guys in like 30 seconds or something. It's ridiculous. It's so good. And they're so tanky too. And Jean just absolutely mocks them. And the best part of Jean, her ult. That is her best part because her ult instantly heals your entire team to full HP due to how high the modifiers are on that ult. Now, not only does it immediately heal your entire team, it also gives you constant regeneration that can allow you to face tank even better than Zhongli's shields. It's crazy. She can she is also technically the one that allows you to face tank more than Zhongli due to her ult. And if that wasn't enough, her ult, it will constantly swirl your character, which is absolutely phenomenal. Because in the old Abyss, condense ice debuff where you don't have that many stamina, it can be removed with Jean's ult. Same with floor 11's ult drain. Jean can remove that ult as long as you're standing inside that ult constantly. And the continuous regeneration from her ult is just so high that to me she is just the best healer in the game, alongside one other healer, of course. And also, not to mention her ult, it has a cost of 80. However, her passive refunds her 16 energy immediately, so she has 64. And her E can generate 3 anemo element particles. So if you use her E like 4 times, which is very easy, since her E has a super low cooldown of 6 seconds and does a lot of damage, and the fall damage also. She just does everything. She's very, very self-sustained. So I would put her in the A+. I would probably put her at the top of A+. I don't think she quite breaks S tier yet, just because she would have to contend with units like Klee, Mona, and Albedo. But yeah, I would put Jean at the top of A+. Okay, so Kaeya. Kaeya, right now I would probably put him at B tier. Kaeya, he is an amazing cryo support, and his physical is also pretty good. I'm thinking of whether to put him in A or B. It's hard. It's a hard decision, honestly. If you have Kaeya C1, he would be in A, but like, Kaeya without constellations, I'd probably put him at B for now. Yeah. He could possibly be A near Shongyun, honestly. I'll put him there for now. Okay, so yeah. So a Nemo main character. A Nemo main character, if you don't have Sucrose or Venti, is going to be your crowd control source. So from a free to play standpoint, she's amazing. But not only that, she actually has a humongous use in the current 11-2 because for some reason her hold E is able to completely taunt any enemy there, whereas other characters don't really have that sort of taunt. And also her tornado is pretty nice. She also gets 6 constellations for free, so I'm going to put her probably here, right next to GOMC. Okay, so Ningguang. Ningguang, she's an absolute beast. I'm sure a lot of people already know how beastly she is. She is an amazing, amazing Geo DPS. I would probably put her at the top of A tier. Just because she does so much damage. However, I wouldn't put her in A+, just because she's not as useful as Jean would be in most teams. Yeah. Okay, now Bennett. Remember how I said I think that there are two best healers in the game? I firmly believe that the two best characters in the game are Jean and Bennett, depending on what you want to use them for. Bennett is absolutely amazing. Please, if you don't have him, get him on the Albedo banner, please. It's a must summon. Now, Bennett is incredible. He boosts your attack, he can heal, his E is on a very low cooldown, and can do a lot of damage, and can generate energy. And yeah, he basically has the same thing as Jean. The only difference is Bennett gives attack, but Jean can heal you up to 100%, and her debuff is constant. Her debuff clear is constant. She can, as long as her ult is active, she can clear the debuffs. With Bennett, it's a one-time clear. So it depends on what you want to use in the situation. Either Jean for the full heal or the Bennett for the 70% heal but increase attack. In my eyes, they are both the two best healers in the game. And I'm going to go why I don't think that Chi-Chi is as good as them. I have Chi-Chi and Jean on the same account, so I'm able to compare them directly, by the way. So Noelle. Noelle, she's actually not bad. I would put her at B, probably above Kea. Because Noelle, she is one of the few AoE attackers in this game. And AoE is very important when it comes to clearing Abyss fast. There are characters that do more damage than her, but like, now her main issue really is with how she can't really generate that much energy on her own. There are builds for her where she can have infinite ult, which is very nice. However, you'd have to build up to that, otherwise you won't really realize Noelle's potential. But if you do realize Noelle's potential, she's probably somewhere in the A tier. Yeah, I would probably put her in the A tier actually, now that I think about it. Yeah, because Noelle once she's built is very nice. Yep. Yeah. Noelle over here. Okay, now Chi-Chi. Now, this is where it starts getting a little controversial, because a lot of people consider Chi-Chi to be the best healer in the game. I myself, I do not see it. I don't at all. I would put her right here. So, let me say why. So Chi-Chi, her E, while her heal from her E is really nice, it has a really long cooldown. The duration is 15 seconds, and the cooldown is 30 seconds. So you only have a 50% uptime for Chi-Chi's E. And then her ult. Her ult is basically mostly out of the equation for most of your battle. Unless you're actively running a cryo character like Kea and in the future Ganyu, Ayaka, that can generate like a bunch of cryo orbs, Chi-Chi will almost never have her ult. Because her ult costs 80, and unlike Jean, she doesn't have a huge energy source. She doesn't have a passive that returns 20% of her energy immediately. She doesn't have an E that generates a ton of particles. But actually, barely any. So, in terms of actual usage, and when I'm doing Abyss, Jean and Bennett actually prove to be more useful to me. Because when I'm using Jean on my team, I can just get her burst super fast and then fully heal everyone, and then just stand in there for a while and not have to worry about my health at all. With Chi-Chi, I kind of have to run away a little bit for her to heal. Now, She also does have that passive with the lifesteal, where her normal attacks will apply a talisman, and then you can lifesteal, right? Now, my one issue with that is that lifesteal only works on one character at a time. So you have to use a character and then openly attack to get the heal. Now compare that to Jean, who can just instantly heal everyone and constantly heal them and do damage and do fall damage. Chi-Chi can just heal and she's not even as effective as Jean. And then comparing her to Bennett, Bennett can provide attack. He can provide a ton of energy on his own since his E has a super low cooldown. Chi-Chi just doesn't compete with Jean and Bennett. I'm sorry. Because like her lifesteal, you also have to switch one character at a time, and it's just kind of annoying. For Bennett, it also heals one character at a time, but like he gives attack buff. He's the only character that can give an attack buff. Oh yeah, and another thing, Chi-Chi can't debuff. She cannot clear debuffs. Jean and Bennett can, and that's pretty big, especially with how annoying Condensed Ice, and Electro Aura is. And then in the future, once we get Hydro Aura, it'll be even more annoying because it boosts your cooldown by so much. You really want debuff clears. Trust me on that. Okay, Razor. Razor, he's a physical DPS beast. I'm going to put him here. He's a physical DPS beast. He's very solid at what he does. Simple as that, honestly. Now Sucrose. Sucrose goes into A+. So first off, Sucrose is an absolutely amazing battery charger. What do I mean by that? Sucrose can generate so much energy, especially if you have her C1. She generates 8 Anemo particles with 2 E's, which is absolutely huge. It generates so much energy, and her ult is basically the closest thing you'll get to Venti right now. Her ult crowd controls enemies for quite a while, and then her C2 makes it even longer, which is nice. Well, like other than Venti, she's basically the second best. Yeah, other than Venti, she's the best crowd control character, and that alone puts her in A+. Because in Abyss, if you want to clear Abyss fast, it's not about DPS only. I'm seeing so many people say that, oh, Abyss is a DPS check. While that is slightly true, it is also a crowd control check. Because if you run the exact same teams, but you have Venti or Sucrose in one of those teams, the team with Venti and Sucrose will clear much faster. At least twice as fast. It's absolutely nuts how much CC does in this game. Because you don't have to go around attacking everyone one by one. You can just group them all together and then attack them as a whole. And especially for those Abyss where you need to clear it in only 3 minutes, you basically need a Nemo Traveler, Sucrose, or Venti on your team. Unless you're just a complete whale and they just one shot everything. But in that case, like, no one is, except a couple few. All right. So child, he's pretty good. I would maybe put him here because child, he's really good. Actually, I was gonna say he's really good, but he's kind of lacking with his E downtime. But The new Hydro artifacts do make him pretty strong. The thing is, like, his E downtime is kinda annoying. Also, he doesn't really generate that much energy on his own. Well he does, but Child is a bit of a tricky one actually. Child is very tricky. No, I'd have to put Child here. He has to be below. He has to be below Ningguang at least. All right. Now Fischl. Fischl, I would put at A plus. However, if you have her at C6, she's easily S. Now the reason for that is because Fischl is an absolutely amazing main DPS. She does so much damage at a range. That's also a big part. She does so much damage at a range. And her Oz, it allows you to apply electro, very, very consistently. So you can do reactions such as Overloaded and Superconduct. Overloaded is super important again because it's basically one of the ways to break shields really fast. And Superconduct is very important if you're running any sort of physical DPS, which you possibly might. You probably do if you're free to play. Let's be honest here. Like if you have, like Razor, Traveler, Diluc, blah blah blah, Kea. Yeah, there are a bunch of physical options in Fischl as well as a physical. She's just at Fischl is really good. She's Now here's another thing with Fischl. She's been on rate up. She's one of the characters that's been on rate up twice. So the likelihood that you have C6 for her is actually kind of high if you've played a lot. If you played since release. Like two of my friends have Fischl C6 already. And also, yeah, Fischl, you get one Fischl for free. Can I put Fischl C6 in contention here? Because if Fischl C6... Okay, Fischl C6 is S tier because what her C6 effectively allows her to do is you put down Oz, you switch to a character like Pyro or Hydro, and then you apply Overloaded and Electro Charge procs every single attack. And that's just absolutely busted. It's so strong. But I guess I'll put her at A plus tier for now, in case people don't have like C6. She's A plus. Actually, Ningguang might also be A plus then. No, I'll put Fischl at A plus here because Electro is actually such a Electro is a really good element because it can do so much. All right, so Xiangling. Xiangling is kind of wildly inconsistent in terms of pyro damage. However, as physical, she's actually very strong. I would probably put her here. This is where I would put Xiangling. She's just a very solid character that you can play. Yeah, basically. Alright, Xingqiu. Xingqiu is really, really nice. He's kind of in the same domain as Bennett, as like a 4-star that should not be a 4-star because he also does so much. And like the only flaw with Xingqiu He's an absolutely amazing Hydro character because he boosts his Hydro damage so much. Now, the only flaw with him is that his heal is kind of low, but he's. How do you say this? His Hydro damage is so good, especially for a 4-star, that like the healing is kind of like a nice bonus. And with Xingqiu, you can play a failsafe kind of team, where you mainly rely on dodges and then use his heals as failsafe. That also works. And also his swords, like whenever they proc, they do they they basically allow you to do reactions very easily as well. So yeah, he's up there. Now Xinyan is really good as well. I would put her in the same tier as Beidou and Ningguang because Xinyan, she just absolutely destroys, especially with constellations. If you have her with constellations, she's probably somewhere here because her with constellations is absolutely nuts. Honestly, maybe even S because her constellations like crit damage at like crit rate 100%, reduce physical resistance by a crap ton. Her constellations just does so much. Okay, now this will be very controversial. Diluc. A lot of people would put her. A lot of people will put him here or something. This is where I would put Diluc. Yep, you're seeing this right. So I feel like I'm one of the few people who actually don't like Diluc. Now, don't get me wrong, Diluc's scaling and modifiers are so high that he's so easy to build. He'll do so much damage. But the problem I have with him is mobility. Almost every character in Genshin, they have some form of mobility. Like they don't stand still in a place for very long. Like for example, even look at Kea, Beidou, Ningguang, Jin, Klee, Albedo, everyone basically. Everyone is very mobile. You usually use an attack and then you either dodge or you move. With Diluc, the way you optimally play him is not really like that. Diluc feels very clunky because his E is separated into 3 consecutive parts. His attacks are already pretty slow as a Claymore, but then his E with 3 parts, it makes him even slower. That he's and the animation for his E is pretty slow too, to where he's like a very easy target to hit. If you've done floor 12, the old floor 12, it has pyro damage bonus, yes. Diluc absolutely destroys in terms of damage, but he dies so easily if you don't have any form of shield. Especially from those icicles and ice prisons, because you can't really move with Diluc. He's very limited. And also Diluc doesn't really combine with other characters very well, so he's not very flexible. So he's meant to be a pyro solo carry DPS. However, there is one particular issue about him solely being a pyro solo DPS carry, which he excels at. However, Klee exists. Klee does so much damage that she just completely outclasses Diluc in terms of solo pyro DPS carry. So basically, if you have Klee, you are not going to use Diluc. And then, as for another fire character that's actually more useful than him, is Bennett. Because Bennett is so flexible. He can do basically everything. He can even be a pyro carry. He won't do as much damage as Diluc, but he'll be more useful for the team overall because he buffs attack, heals. Diluc it's just, how do I say this? He's very underwhelming for me actually because he's not flexible enough. He only fits one role, which is pyro damage, but Klee is just way too powerful for him. That as a direct comparison, he just falls apart. Every other character here doesn't really have that problem, since other characters either have more roles and their primary role is not really pyro DPS. Diluc and Klee are, and Klee is just so much better. So that's why I'm going to put Diluc somewhere here, in the middle of A tier, because he scales absolutely great. It's just that late game, honestly, he he's hard to he's hard to play. The irony here is that he's so basic that it's so hard to play him because it's hard to be mobile while playing with Diluc. Whereas with Klee, you can jump all over the place. It's absolutely amazing. Klee is just incredible. Now, Barbara. Barbara is B tier simply because while Barbara's heal is really good, she has the same flaws as Chi-Chi, and her E makes you wet, which is absolutely horrible. If you've done the old floor 12, she her applying wet basically freezes your team. It's so annoying that she's basically unusable in the old floor 12, and in the current floor 11, you're going to get constantly electrocharged if you use Barbara's E, which is also very annoying. So Barbara, for me right now, is actually the worst healer since she applies the wet on your character and it really doesn't help at all. Now, lastly, Lisa. Lisa is actually very underrated. I would probably put Lisa here actually for now because Lisa, she's more of a slow kind of character like Beidou, so that's why she often gets overlooked. Her damage and scaling is actually pretty high, especially if you know how to play her properly with getting her 3 stacks and then proccing that off. There's also a hidden tech with Lisa that I have not seen anyone talk about that actually allows her to get to 3 stacks super quickly. So that's also something that makes her really good. Okay, so before I wrap up, Keqing. If I had Keqing, based on her gameplay that I see, I would probably put Keqing somewhere, probably in the S tier, honestly. Just because, like, I'm so impressed by her gameplay. She's so flexible, and that's what makes her so great. Is because if you're not a whale, you're not gonna have all the characters. So flexibility is gonna be something that matters a lot. And also, when I'm making this tier list, you can clearly see that I value flexibility a lot. As someone who's not a whale and has done floor 12 as a free to play, I'm not free to play anymore, but I did the old floor 12 as a free to play. I incredibly value flexibility due to the limited resources. I didn't have venti also, by the way, so my main team was Jean and Zhongli. Let that sink in. I didn't have any of these. I had Albedo. I didn't have Klee, Mona, or Venti on my main account when I did my floor 12, which was a shame. Otherwise, it would have been easier. I used Jean and Zhongli mainly for my main account floor 12. Yeah, and Keqing would be right there. Yep. Okay, so now Ganyu, Xiao, and Ayaka, I'm not really going to discuss them because their information isn't final. But if I were to rank them, I would probably put Ganyu somewhere. I would probably put Ganyu here, Xiao here, and then Ayaka probably here. These would be my. For now, this would be what I would rank them at. So yeah, that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed. Please, this tier list. I hope I've done a decent service because a lot of the tier lists that I see nowadays, I really don't agree with them at all. Like for example, I think Diluc is massively overrated. Oh boy, that's gonna cause some controversy, isn't it? All right, see you guys.